jolly good. Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clank Zoka, and welcome to another My Thoughts On. Today, I will be talking about Moomins on the Rivera. And this is a feature animated film based on the comic strip of, Moomins. I don't know that much about Moomins, so this film didn't help in the absolute slightest. But the only things I remember about this movie is the trailer, which I saw during DreamWorks' Home back in 2015. And I did watch it before, but not in a very long time. I don't remember that much about it since it didn't really stick out, but I am aware that Moomins do exist, and people seem to be very, fond of them. You know, I just know they exist. I never read the comic strips or anything. So this movie is originally dubbed its original language is Finland, but I watched the UK dub of it, or English dub, whatever, which has recognisable actors like Russell Tovey, and you've also got what's her name from Friday Night Dinner? I'm gonna forget her name. Tracy Ann Oberman. Yeah. So you've got a lot of really recognisable actors, even though I only know two, really. So, yeah. So what's the film about? Well, these Moomins, which include Moomin, voiced by Russell Tovey, Moomin Mama, voiced by Tracy Ann Oberman, Moomin Papa, voiced by Nathaniel Parker, and Snork Maiden, voiced by Stephanie Winicki. They all go to the Riviera, which is a lot more... excuse me. Which is a lot more relaxing and prettier than their home. They decide to go on vacation, on holiday, and they're joined by Minnie-Mel? I don't know. This young little girl who causes trouble. And they all go there and they have a good time until things kind of go tits up in a way, as you would expect. Snork Maiden finds this charming little fellow or celebrity. I don't know how you would interpretate that. I think his name was Clark Duncan. I don't know. Clark Tresco. He's voiced by Dave Brown. Moomin Mama is simply just planting, and Moomin Papa meets this artist. And then there's this black cat thing who finds a love interest, and Moomin gets very, very jealous of Snork Maiden going out with someone. Yeah, that's it. In terms of story and events, this film is very, very uneventful. There is really, on one hand, there's not really a lot going on, but on the other hand, there is quite a lot going on. And even when something really isn't going on, there isn't much to it. Like the black cat, who finds a love interest, even though we don't know that much about him. And that's the biggest problem with the movie. Characters just come in, and then you see them, and you think, oh, they're interested, and then they just go off and do their thing, and you don't see them for that long, which, I mean, I get it if people know Moomins. I don't, and, many other people don't, So it makes it a lot confusing as to if you know these characters well. I don't know Moomins, like I said, but he's there. He finds a love interest. I can't even remember his name. A lot of these characters, I don't remember their names. Just a couple. The Little Me, I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, but she just kind of hangs about with this dog that they find, named Pippin, I think Pippi, something like that. And again, she doesn't seem to contribute to much other than being part of Moomins, The story is The story is really nothing eventful. It's very predictably slow. The predictable outcomes are predictable, but at least it's not like offensive or harmful. It's very safe. This movie is very. It's so particularly safe. Like there is really nothing. It's not like Song of the Sea or Inside Out or any of those films that came out within that year. That's like trying to push the evolution and envelope for animation or anything like that. It's not trying to be big or huge. It's just kind of being its own like little cute flick, very cute, cute flick. The film's humor is like this. It's like when you watch like a very very old British kids show. It's like the humor is like very silly. The main characters would act very nice even if they'd done something wrong, and the other characters act very negatively, like the Chuckle Brothers in a way. When they do something wrong and they think, "Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear," and then when someone comes in like, "What have you done?" and it's like, "Oh hello, oh we just come to fix your pipes." Terrible Chuckle Brother impression. I don't know if it's Paul or Barry, but it's like that. The humour is exactly like that, and if you're a fan of that, I think you'll like it. Personally, I think it's amusing. I didn't laugh that much. I laughed maybe twice. Most of the time I thought it was quite amusing. There were a couple of scenes where I thought it just kind of dragged on a little bit, and this film's like an hour and 16 minutes, so it's actually pretty short. Like, it is a really short movie. Even My Love is a Courgette is shorter than this. This film doesn't feel like it's like very long or anything, but it feels very, very short. And after you watch it, it just kind of leaves not that much of an impact in the head. So like I said, the movie's story is very uneventful. I mean, there are events going on, but nothing like interesting. Just very basic, I guess, slice of life, holiday time thing. I don't know. It wasn't particularly funny. It was just kind of, charming and amusing. There are some good visual slapstick gags which are amusing, to be fair, and it has an okay heart to it. It's not mean-spirited, but it's kind of all over the place, and it's very divisive whether if the Moomins are exactly perfect, are a perfect species or family or not. So I wasn't bored by it. I wasn't angry. It was just, this has been done before, and this is just kind of plain. It's safe. It's it's just to keep the little ones. Trying to keep the little ones distracted, and that's what this film does. Whether that's a good or bad thing, that's kind of what it's meant to do. Animation. The animation is pretty to look at, and yeah, that's all I got to say. I think the animation is my favourite thing about the movie. Comparing this to like other independent animated films like 2D, like A Cat in Paris or Chico and Rita, or even Cartoon Saloon stuff, it's not quite as expressive or as stylistic as those, but it has a very vibrant, colourful, cute look to it. The backgrounds are very, very well shaded. You can tell it's 2D animation, so they had to draw. Obviously not with I don't know if it's like traditional, but I know it's like they use computers and all that. The backgrounds look very nice. They have nice shading to them. Generally speaking, it is a very, very colourful and pretty film to look at. The characters have a very simple but cute look to them, and I'm not saying that of Snork Maiden. I mean, they have a simple, cute, just very safe style to them that looks pleasant enough. In that way, if you know what I mean, yeah. There's nothing extraordinary about the animation. It's very nice and pretty, and the only problems I had with it is that even though when the film came out, it was only like a limited release, so it wasn't like I don't think it was in cinemas for long. I think it was only out for maybe a month or so. And also, if you're wondering, no, I didn't see it in cinemas because these types of films just usually come on like in the morning, like 10 o'clock, which I think is bullshit because I think it should have been all day. But you can tell the animation has a very DVD quality look to it. And I think this film, in terms of how it looks more like something that's excuse me, that's like made for I can't think, for a DVD release, because yeah, although there is there's effort put into it and it does look good, but it doesn't look like something you'd see in the cinema unless it's like Song of the Sea or Wolf Walkers. If it's like that, then sure. I mean, I can see people watching it in the cinema, or did, because it came out like over 5 years ago. And I will admit the character designs, although they look very cute and they look charming, they look a bit too simplistic and a little bit too kid-friendly to my taste. It doesn't look quite as expressive or as, nicer looking than like Disney or Cartoon Saloon, but it looks good. It looks perfectly serviceable for the film that's, animated for, I suppose. While it's not cinematically appropriate, the animation, even though it can look a bit DVD-ish quality and looks too simple, it looks pretty, it looks charming and cute, and there is effort put into it as well, so I guess I can't complain too much about the animation. I'll give the film a pass on that, because the animation is probably my favourite thing in the movie, so I'll let them have it. The animators, I mean, not the animation, but you know what I mean. Characters and acting. There wasn't really a character in the movie that I particularly liked, as in, like, stood out. A lot of them were just very bland and predictably safe. That's all I can say. This film is very safe. The one character in the film that I didn't like was Snork Maiden. I thought she was a very stubborn, she was very stubborn and very I can't think of the word, but she seems to only care about herself. Even if she does care about Moomin, she doesn't seem to always reflect her, on what she says to him, and she doesn't even seem to talk to him that much, even if she still loves him. Like, she goes out with this guy, and Moomin's probably the most understandable character in the movie, and then she would just... I really didn't like her. She was very stubborn and very self-righteous. That's the word I was looking for. She's not funny, she's not even that likeable. She's like the fashion character who just seems to care about looks and gossip and anything else. Moomin is a very boring main character. I don't know if he was like this in the other source material, but he seems to be the very nice but also understandably upset Moomin, to be fair. And there was one scene where he kind of ditches her at one point, which I'm like, yeah, I would do the same, because Snork Maiden is very, very stubborn. Moomin Papa is just the very high posh, happy-go-lucky, joyful Moomin, and while Moomin Mama is just the lovely, soft, gentle Moomin. And they're not awful, they're not stupid, they're just very bland and they're too nice. I mean, I don't mind nice characters, but they're too nice to the point that they're very forgettable. Everyone else just kind of seems to fall into that category as well. Clark is like the very overly posh celebrity who always shows his teeth and acts like this. Ha ha ha. There's like this other like celebrity in bikini as well who seems to be... There's a couple of American voices, which I don't know if they are from America, but there you go. Everyone else either are put off by the Moomins, or one of them just kind of goes along with them. There's this artist in the film who talks to Moomin Papa a lot. I thought he was alright. He was probably the only character that was interesting. Everyone else just... they are exactly who they are. Little Mai is not annoying, but she doesn't really serve much of a purpose. This black cat, who in a kind of a funny scene, actually goes off and finds his cousin. I think it's his cousin, because he finds the other one, doesn't he? The female cat, and he says like, "Oh, I want you to take over my part. I'm getting married." I kind of wish there was more of that, more like self-aware, very simple, like movie humor, but there isn't much of that. There's a dog they come across who's, he doesn't do much. Yeah, that's kind of the thing with these characters. They don't seem to do much. They seem to follow the Moomins, they seem to talk for a little bit, and that's it. They don't serve much of a purpose, and even the voice acting I thought was kind of underwhelming. Russell Tovey, he's a good actor and a good voice actor as well, but his performance here will never beat the Bam... what was his character name from the Pirates movie? The albino pirate, there we go. I couldn't think of the name for a minute. It will never beat that, because I thought he was great in that. Here, it just looks like he's just reading the lines. Tracy Ann Oberman will never beat... her role here is fine. It will never beat her role in Friday Night Dinner as Auntie Val. Everyone else seems to just do exactly what they're supposed to do, read some lines. But the thing is, there's no personality. It just looks like they're reading lines without giving much emotion. Maybe a little, but not by much. The characters are really not terrible, they're not good, they're just predictably safe. Even the voice acting couldn't really bring much to them. So yeah, they're just pretty forgettable, even if one of them is interesting. The music in the movie is nice and everything, but nothing new. It's got some nice violins and nice cheery music, but nothing particularly good or memorable. Well, it's exactly what it is. It's a very safe kids film, but I've seen worse, and this one's not good, but it's possible. Moomins on the Riviera. In terms of Vertigo release films, I'd say this is the best one, but Sound of Metal is the best one. If you, from that standpoint on, even though Vertigo is a distribution company and they don't own any of the rights, they just distribute films in the UK, but I would say this is the best, but this is second best. It's better than Horrid well, it's better than Top Cat and Podsy at least, but even with them, they're actually kind of amazingly bad in terms of how much shit's going on. This one, although it's not bad, it's just uneventful and very forgettable. Again, the animation looks pretty, and it is, it's nice to look at, and it is well made, I suppose. The voice acting is fine, serviceable. Even the lip syncing, because keep in mind this is the English dub, some of the lip syncing's a bit off, as to be expected. The story is very uneventful and boringly predictable. I did laugh a few times as well, and the artist is kind of interesting, but there's too much going on, and even if there is, there's also little outcome and impact that it makes to the film. So it's just a very safe, very, I wouldn't say mediocre, but very it's a very safe, very uneventful movie. If you've got little kids, I think they'll just like it fine. It will distract them. It is a relaxing movie, to be fair. Like, it's not something you get up on your seat and like get invested or anything. I think it's a film for you to just sit back and just kind of watch what would happen, So if you're a Moomins fan, I don't know if this would persuade you to say, oh, this is the Moomins. From a couple of IMDb reviews, people say, like, oh, this is not the Moomins, they ruined it. A lot of them say it's not very good. I can understand that. Personally, I think it's just okay. I'm not... It doesn't, like, interest... It didn't quite... How do I put this? It didn't really interest me in looking at other Moomin-related stuff. Not really. I'm not really into Moomins at all. Like I never grew up with them. This film is just fine. It's not as bad as like what came out that year. It's not as bad as like Strange Magic or 2x2, but it will never beat Song of the Sea or or Inside Out. It's fine. It's a perfectly passable, friendly, charming, yet just very safe movie. I'll give it a 6.2 out of 10. I wouldn't watch it again, but I mean, I did watch it before, but not like in a very, very long time. But yeah, it's fine. It's a perfectly fine movie. So yeah, I can't speak today. Moomins on the Riviera. It's a kids' movie. There you go. The reason I wanted to talk about this was because, I mean, there wasn't a lot to talk about. I mean, it is kind of one of the better Vertigo movies, but like I said, they don't own it, they just distribute it. So yeah, next up I've got... What day is it today? Today's Monday. I've got School of Rock to do, and Stardust, which is a film that my girlfriend wanted me to watch. I've not seen both of them. I'm really looking forward to them. So yeah, and also I'm going to try to see Another Round starring Mads Mikkelsen, the foreign film that won the Oscar for best foreign film. That'll be out Sunday, hopefully, if I can try and see it. So yeah, look forward to those. And if you have seen Moomins on the Riviera, or I mean, do you like Moomins? I don't think I've met anyone who said, "Oh, I'm a big fan of the Moomins." It's a good, bad, decent. Do you want to see it? Let me know below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Until next time, bye for now.